Good morning, and thank you for joining us for week 7 of the 2023 MEAC Weekly Football Coaches Video Conference. I am Patricia Porter Mayfield, Associate Commissioner for the MEAC, and I will serve as the moderator and host of today's interviews. Before we begin, I would like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin with the MEAC notes featuring conference highlights, upcoming events, players of the week, and weekly accolades. Afterwards, we will ask each head coach questions about their previous matchups, the upcoming games, followed by questions from the media. To ask a question, simply click the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. We will now proceed with our interview questions. We start this morning with Howard head coach Larry Scott. Good morning, Coach Scott.
Oh, good morning. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well, Coach. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well.
Okay. Well, Coach, last week defensively, the Bison put up a stellar performance, but overall, it was not the finish that you would have liked. Can you talk about that matchup against Northwestern?
It was one going into it that, obviously nobody in the country gave us a chance to go up there and compete and win, but we knew we had a chance to go win. We thought we matched up really well. Thought we were going in there to win a ball game, and fell a little short in the end, but was very proud of the way our guys played, competed. I heard enough all week about being outmanned and kind of bullied and pushed around and all of those things, and those things didn't happen. Our team went up there and played physical brand of football. Hit those guys right in the mouth, ran around, made some plays, created some stops on defense, and did some really good things for us to build upon. Fell a little short right there in the end, but was truly proud of the way we went up there and competed and kind of still show people that, just because we're in, the MEAC or we're FCS or we're in HBCU, that you're not going to outman us or just push us around all the time.
Well, Coach, for weeks you have discussed this team's resilience. And after a slow start last week, you were a few drives short of getting a win against Northwestern. How do you describe the character of this team?
Just what you just said, they're very, resilient. I think it's always the idea, right, when you get into those environments of just kind of settling down, settling into the game and getting a feel for it. And I think that's what you saw with a little bit of a slow start. I mean, we're used to going out as an offense and we pride ourselves in taking first drives of a game or first drives of a second half and going down the field and scoring. And it was a tale of two tapes, right? The first time we go out and we have a miscue on third down and don't convert, but so we didn't score on that drive, but then we come out the first drive of the second half and go 17 plays, almost an 8-minute drive, 74 yards and score a touchdown. So it just speaks to who this team is and more importantly, who we're becoming. And we talked about this game for us coming up now being a crossroads of us really truly deciding and knowing that we're good enough to go play with anybody when we put the ball down, when we execute, believe, attack, play our style of play and play our style of football. We can be competitive against a lot of teams in the country and will be. So, a little bit of a slow start, but proud of the way that they, came back and finished and did all of those things. So we just got to put it all together.
Well, another competitive contest lies ahead as you take on Harvard, who was ranked last week at number 21. The Crimson are coming off a 43-21 victory over Cornell and are currently undefeated overall and in league play. What are you singing to prepare for this upcoming matchup?
Oh, man, just another kind of Eastern Michigan, Big Ten, Harvard type of game. It's going to be physical, and that's the thing. We've been in some physical ball games, and we're a little sore right now, obviously, from that, this weekend and those type of things. And so, well-coached team. And when you play an Ivy League school, one thing you're going to get is NFL style coaching. From the standpoint of the scheme, what they do, offense, defense, and in the kicking game. Really sound, well-coached, strong, physical football game. That's what you're going to get, and so. This is our back-to-back week of some of the same style, same type of brand of football that we're playing against that, causes us to continue to just get better too, because we're going to have to go up and be clean, be sound, not hurt ourselves with penalties, be physical, can't have MAs, you can't make mistakes against this team, or it won't be favorable for you. But you turn on the tape, this is a really good football team that we're going to play.
Well, thanks for that insight, Coach Scott. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but I can ask you to please stay available for any additional questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raise hand function and remain muted until you're introduced. Our first question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach Scott.
Doc, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Bill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I want to talk about Eden James, particularly for my first question. 21 carries, 177 yards, averaging 8.4, and got in the end zone on that 64-yard. Broke out another big 55 where he really showed his vision and then some speed. Talk about his maturation and his play, particularly in this game.
No, Eden's a special back, and I think is for the first time probably since the Eastern Michigan game. He's been healthy, 100% healthy, and was able to get out there, and that's the thing, that's the most carries he's had to date so far in this game, and he did a really good job. We found some seams and found some things from a schematic standpoint that gave us some favorable looks to get some good runs on it. He took advantage of it. Some times he created, but his vision, his balance, who he is, he understands how to run the football, if that makes sense. He knows when to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, get skinny, protect the ball, take what's given, and then he also can use his vision and balance to set up things and sees things and makes a decision. 1 or 2 cut guy. He's just not a 1 cut, get vertical guy. He can 1 cut you, get vertical, 2 cut you, spin out of it, change direction, change fields, all that kind of stuff. So he's a special back that has a special skill set, and once he's feeling it and getting to it, he can be a game changer.
A follow-up question is on Harvard, your next matchup in terms of their quarterback, who Charles, that seems to be able to throw the ball a little bit, DePrima, and run the ball as well. This season, he's 43 at 85 for over 600 yards. He also can run for 400-some yards. They had a big win that I got to catch on ESPN against Cornell this past weekend. What are you seeing on film from them and him, particularly in terms of what he is able to do on the offensive side of the ball?
I think that's the biggest difference between who they were last year, where they had more of a passing attack with the quarterback they had there, to be more balanced now. They introduced the quarterback runs, the read zone element of it. He throws the ball really well. But I think it's something that they've been throwing out there, a stat that he's probably like the second fastest player on their team. So he's also a guy that once he gets into open space, can use his legs and become dangerous with his speed. So this is quite a challenge for us, defending this guy, knowing that they're going to still be very sound in their approach and what they do. They're going to run the football really well. They got size at tight end. They play with a lot of 12 personnel tight end sets. 6'5", 6'6" guys out there running around and different things like that. So this is definitely going to present a huge challenge to us defensively, to slow them down. And then their style of play on defense, bend, don't break, is going to make you, have to be really disciplined in your approach offensively too as well. So this is going to be a heck of a challenge to go up to Boston and go play this football team.
Thank you, Coach. I look forward to the matchup against this top 25 undefeated Harvard team.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Doc.
With the bicycle. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question comes to you from Nathaniel Henry Jr. Go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Nate. How are you?
Great. Howard University Media. Coach, in such a physical game, have you ever been in a situation where there were no turnovers?
No, you know what? That's a really good question. We'll probably have to go back and look at that. But, the ball was out a couple times with them and some miscues, and it just didn't bounce our way to create some of those turnovers, which probably would have been the difference in the game if we could have gotten on 1 or 2 of those, as opposed to them being able to recover them in those situations, because we needed something like that to go our way once or twice in a game like that on the road in the Big Ten officials and all of those good things. We needed something to kind of tilt the odds a little bit in our favor, but however, it didn't happen. But I have to go back and look at that and see if that's the case. But it was just that, as a coach, you stand on the sideline sometimes, and when you say to yourself, "Ouch," that's going to leave a mark. Or "Ouch, that one hurts." It was a really physical football game.
Yes, sir. My next question is, I know you spoke about cleaning up some things over the course of the bye week in regards to some of the past games and some of the mistakes that were made. Talk about how the 3 personal fouls and the false start on a key third down affected the outcome of the game.
No, that was huge, right? It was early in the game too. Where we put together. I mean, we put together a string of drives in this game. There were not many 3 and outs, and we wanted to be aggressive in our approach, and we went for it on a few 4th downs. One in particular in the red zone that probably, if I take back one decision in the game, probably would have took points there early in the second quarter as opposed, but it was a malfunction to deal with some things we were trying to get done and what the referees did to us in that situation, which was I'm still in arms about. However, neither here nor there at this point. That resulted in that, but probably should have took points in that situation. But in the past, as far as the passing game goes, I'll tell you what, I can't be more proud of what our quarterback saw and how he executed and what he did in that game. I mean, everything that he saw, they threw the kitchen sink at us from a coverage standpoint. Disguising, showing one look, playing another. It was as NFL style of defense as you're going to see on the back end with mixing up coverage looks and things like that to confuse the quarterback. And he did a really good job of going through progressions, making smart choices with decisions with the football, never put it in danger to turn it over on our behalf. And I thought he managed the game as good as I've seen him do since I've been here. So really proud of the way he managed the game in that situation, which speaks to, his development, overall development, and where we are as a program. So truly excited to keep building on that.
Yes, sir. Next question. In regards, you always talked about developing depth when you first arrived at the program, and speak about the guys who have filled those roles as regards to injuries, and talk about how that helps the football team moving forward.
Oh, man, it's been probably one of the things that I go in, and one of the points I talked about right away on Sunday in our team meeting was guys that stepped up, when they needed to. Our tight end, who's also our long snapper, went down, and we had to have our backup long snapper come in, and he was on it. He did a really good job there, and now he's also one of our backup offensive linemen. So just to have that depth, especially in that critical position, when as critical as those snaps are, was to be commended. To have our young DBs step up. We lost one of our starting DBs, and we interchangeable on the back end, which really has helped. And we've developed being able to play a lot of guys on the back end. So guys being able to step up and step in and take advantage of their opportunities and play really well. That was the thing that was impressive. They didn't just go in the game and kind of fill a void. They went in and made plays. They played well. They got aligned. They were disruptive. They did some really nice things that's encouraging as we move forward with this game and in the conference play, that we'll be able to play multiple guys on the back end. To be able to flip our offensive line a little bit around and have guys play some multiple positions there in the end of the game, and still have a lot of success putting the ball on the ground and running it when we needed to, was also, truly impressive. And then our young freshman tight end, who's now finding himself having to play 60, 70 reps a game, and doing a really good job in both the run and pass game, is truly encouraging for us too as we move forward. So excited about the depth that we've been able to develop. Now we've challenged ourselves to play a lot of guys early, in meaningful minutes of football, not just in cleanup duty and those type of things, so that we can put ourselves in position to win this time down the stretch. These guys that play football, they felt the fire, they got the experience, and we can rely on them to win.
Great. Thanks, Coach, and good luck this week.
Okay, guys, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all of our questions this morning. Thanks for joining us this morning, Coach Scott. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Howard will travel to Boston, Massachusetts to take on Harvard. The game kicks off Saturday, October 14th at Harvard Stadium and will be broadcast at 1 p.m. on ESPN+. Our next interview is with North Carolina Central head coach Trey Oliver. Good morning, Coach Oliver.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you?
I'm well. A little different background there this week, I see.
We had to change up a little bit. We're on fall break and about to head to practice, so excuse the dress. Sorry,
No.
Doc, about the no collar shirt today.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Thanks for joining us. Well, Coach, nice win last week as you defeated FCS ring Elon en route to eliminating a few of their records that they had been broadcasting coming into that game. Can you recap the game for us?
Yeah, it was we played a really good Elon team. Great day for football, beautiful weather, and great environment. Stadium was packed. Our fans came out and to support their team. Got off to another slow start, unfortunately. We were down 10-0. I thought we kind of settled down a little bit, and our defense held down and played well. We held them to 82 yards rushing, and I thought our defensive line played really well. Offensively, again, Mookie Collier and Davis Richard had another outstanding game. But I think that the change, the biggest difference of the game was the middle 8 minutes, the last 4 minutes of the first half, and then the first 4 minutes of the second half. But I was really pleased with how our guys played, and we were able to pull out a tough win against a really good opponent.
Nice win. Well, Coach, last week was the last non-conference game of this schedule as you will be moving into conference play moving forward. What have you learned about your team during that non-conference schedule? Can you talk about the competitiveness, the strength, and the personality of this team?
Yes, and we have a really good football team, and I think we have a long way to go to be a great team. But when I put the schedule together years back, that was a big thing as far as, we wanted a really competitive schedule, non-conference. So being able to play these, top 25 teams, playing on the road, playing a FBS team, UCLA, we were going to be battle tested going to the conference. And, we have a really tough conference. You just talked to, obviously, Coach Scott with Howard, and they take the Big Ten team to the wire. So I think we're battle tested, and we'll get a week off to lick our wounds a little bit and get some guys healthy and get ready for conference play.
Well, you're open this week. What is the theme of the bye week?
We'll practice today and tomorrow. We'll get ready we'll take 2 days off to kind of heal up a little bit and do some community service. Guys can focus on class. And then we'll get back at it on Friday and get ready for a tough Morgan State opponent.
Well, thanks, Coach Oliver. That concludes all of my questions. We will now take questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Our first question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Are you muted, Doc?
Good morning, Coach Oliver. Yes, I was. I'm so ready to get with you. I want to start this off. I don't want to hear anything, all due respect. I know you can wear whatever you want, but I don't want to hear anything about a tire again, particularly with your location. But, when you do the things you're doing seriously in terms of competition, this is the second year in a row that you got a top 25 win for your program and your team getting it done. And I don't know which side to start on, but I guess I'll do defense and say some superlatives question for your offense later. But your defense held Elon to 82 yards. That's one thing. But it was 1.9, as you know, in terms of the average. Talk about the defense making them one-dimensional in terms of stopping the run and then being able to focus on the pass, getting the interception in there, and limiting to what they could do all game long.
Well, my defensive coordinator, Coach Cord, that's what he lives on, as far as stopping the run. And I thought our defense staff had a great game plan going into the game. I was concerned about their running game because they're very physical up front, and they had a very good running back. They ran the ball well against William & Mary, and, all year they've had success running the ball. So that was something we had harped on all week. And just as far as an overall effort defensively, our guys played like their hair was on fire. I was really pleased with just the overall effort that we played with. Guys were flying around, and we got hands to the football. With several guys that played really well. I just Trey Middleton. I think this, he played outstanding. It was so many guys up front. I think our defensive line as a unit played really, really well. And then once we made them one-dimensional and made them throw the football, we had 8 sacks. And I don't remember the last time I've been on the team that we had 8 sacks in a game. So I was really pleased with our defensive play. We did give up some key third downs, and we'll get that corrected. But if you can stop the run and hold people to less than 2 yards of carry, you know you're gonna be in a lot of games.
No doubt about it. Now back to the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you know, defense wins championships, but offense sells tickets. But the way that you're able to get some things done on offense, you had 4 drives of 60 yards plus. Just for the record, a 13-play 75-yard, a 10-play 75-yard, 7-play 75 yards, I should say, 5 of 30, 10 of 62, and then 1 that was 4 of 85. Your quarterback, Davis Richard, is assaulting the record books. And I say that in all strong and positive measure. You said earlier that you're going to turn him loose. He went 21, 35, 171 yards, 11 carries for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns. What can we say about Davis that we haven't already said? I mean, he is taking this year to the next level in a lot of ways with his play. This is after, you know, kind of having a little bit of injury that he seems to have shaken off, and he's getting it done.
Yeah, Davis is a grown man. I mean, I can't say enough about him. You know, you want me to say something that you all haven't already heard. We told him that we we're going to put the ball in his hands this week. We knew they had a great front seven, and that if we needed to throw it, you know, 40, 50 times, we would. But he got us in some checks, and it was some things that he and the offensive coordinator hadn't even discussed. And the offensive coordinator told me after the game, Coach Leone, he was like, I don't even know, you know, what made him do that. But we saw a look, and he changed the protection, and it was just, he's incredible. He really is. And he can manage the game. He can beat you, you know, throwing the football. He made some plays with his legs, kept his eyes downfield, and hit the open receiver. It's really hard to defend guys like that. And he's patient. You know, he's not going to press and make bad decisions. So he's a gamer. He's a gamer. And, you know, great personality, great guy. If we're up by 50 or down by 50, you know, he's got that thermostat mentality that we talk about here. But, and, you know, I got to take my hat off to offensive line. You know, again, we're playing some really young guys up there. You know, redshirt freshmen, 2 freshmen, redshirt sophomore. So we have some older guys that are playing for us, and but we got a whole lot of young guys that are filling in as well.
Thank you, Coach. I'll share the mic. I have some other questions I want to get in terms of that, but I'll let the season kind of play a little longer in terms of going in that direction. Thanks, Coach. Have a great day. Look forward to practice.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Our next question comes to you from Ty Miller. You're muted, Ty.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ty. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm with the Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. I'm also a member of the Black College Football Hall of Fame Selection Committee. And right now we're in the process of identifying players for the Legacy Bowl. So with you having a break this week, I want to ask you, could you name us 2 players, one on offense and one on defense, who could be considered to be in the Legacy Bowl this year?
One on offense and one on defense? I'm sorry,
Yes.
for my team?
Yes, seniors.
Oh, that's a great question.
And if you don't have an answer this morning, maybe we can double back to it sometime in a couple of weeks. But I want to get you to think about that because we're in the process of identifying players right now.
Right. Well, I talked to Doug and Shaq Harris earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna send them a list of guys. You know, we got a great football team here, and you know, different guys show up every week, and you know, we talk about consistency and all that stuff, but it's really been a team effort. Obviously, you know, Davius Richard is unanimous pick. Defense, we have so many guys that have been playing really well. But I'm just excited that, you know, to get into conference play. You know, you've only played 5 or 6 games, so I've got to hold that one right there and think about it a little bit more. But you know, we've got so many guys that have been playing really well.
Well, while you're talking about conference play, how confident are you that your team can repeat again this year after the gauntlet of teams you played so far during this preseason of sorts before you get into conference play?
I haven't even thought that far. You know, it's week by week.
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because we're whatever our record is, 4-1, 5-1, whatever the case may be, but you must run and lose a game and we could be out of it. So I was talking to my associate AD, Bulldog Smith, this morning about I might rather be 0-5 and then run it off and win the next 6 and win a conference. But you get caught up in all the media and the hoopla and the rankings and all that stuff, and then we mess around and stub our toe. We could be out of it. So every week is a championship game for us, and I like where we are right now. And I thought we played much better this week than we did last week. And the guys are in a really good place, and they're hungry. We have a hungry football team, and they have something to prove. So they're excited to get out here to go to practice today, and we're gonna have a great week of practice, and we're gonna get ready for a Morgan State team.
All right, Coach. Good luck this weekend and the rest of the season.
Thanks so much, Ty.
Well, that concludes all the questions this morning. Thanks for joining us, Coach, and have a great and restful week.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you guys for all your coverage.
Thank you. North Carolina Central is open this week, but we'll take on Morgan State in their next outing. That game kicks off Thursday, October 19th at Hughes Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. The game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. and will be broadcasted live on ESPNU. Our next interview is with Delaware State head coach Lee Hull. Good morning, Coach Hull.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well, Coach. How are you?
Good.
Well, Coach, last week, lots of offense in that matchup, but in the end, the Hornets were not able to secure the win. Can you talk about the matchup against Central Connecticut State?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. It actually was a very exciting game. A lot of fans came and said, "Hey, that was a good football game," but unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick on that. But I did like our guys didn't quit. They fought. We were down. They came. We scored 28 points in 7 minutes. And coming out of halftime in the third quarter, offense and the special teams, put up a lot of points. We gotta fix some things on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, they ran for close to 500 yards rushing. So, obviously we got a bye week this week, so we're going to be working on that. But I'm excited for where we're at, as a team and as a program, because the guys are buying in and there's no quit in them. That's what I preach to them is, just fight to the end, and they have done that the last couple of games.
Well, Coach, as you've talked about, these last couple of games, offense has really started to mature, currently averaging second place in the league. At this point, talk about where you see the offense, the team, its growth, and the areas of improvement as you embark upon conference play.
Yeah, I think we got back some of our players. The first 4 games we had a couple guys out, so Rakeem Smith, number 10, helps out a lot. 2, Jordan Hall missed the game, came back. This game had a nice touchdown on a screenplay. So with the guys coming back and getting healthy, offensive lineman, Diadu, he was out. He came back. This was his first opportunity to play, so that helped solidify the line at our right guard position. Offense always takes to gel together, especially with a new offensive line, they haven't really played a lot together. We have only a couple of guys on the offensive line that played last year. So, I think the offense is just starting to gel. They're starting to understand the offense and know what we're trying to do. They're working together. So I'm excited to see where we can go. We have put up some points, the last 3 games or so. So I'm excited about that, about the offense right now.
Well, Coach, it's been a tough start to this season as you're rebuilding this program. And finally, you're getting an open week. What is the focus of the bye week?
Learn how not to beat ourselves. Even though we talked about the offense putting up points, but we probably could have had 3-4 more touchdowns. So we're leaving a lot of points out there. So that's going to be the focal point for the offense. I just talked to them again. hey, if the defense, if they score 51, we have to score 52. So we can't leave points out there. The focal point is also getting healthy, but also on defense, stopping the run. We're going to do self-scout, see what our tendencies are, try to figure some things out. Obviously, the definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results. So we're going to have to try to find new ways. Our players, we believe in them, but defensively, we got to tackle. The scheme is good. Guys are in position to make tackles. We got to tackle. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on fundamentals, technique. We're going to heal up, so we're not going to practice until Wednesday. We'll practice Wednesday and Thursday this week. Come back on Sunday. Have a quick hour and a half practice on Sunday, and then start a regular week next week. But the main thing is get healthy and figure out what we do well and what we don't do well. Trying to figure out how we can be better at it.
Well, thanks, Coach Cole. That concludes all of my questions this morning, but if I can ask you to stick around for any additional questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Your first question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach Cole.
Hey, good morning, Doc.
Hey, this is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Bill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I want to ask you, you talked about cleaning up some things. It's not many games where you can be -4 in terms of turnovers margin and still be in the game and playing down the stretch. Talk a little bit about what are some things you might be able to do to try to clean it up, finish some plays, execute, as well as maybe cut down on some of the turnovers.
Yeah, we had 4 turnovers this past week, but 2 of them were off of drop passes, right? Tip passes. So we just got to make those catches. 2 interceptions, they should have been completions. Gillis fumbled the ball, which he hasn't done all year, got stripped. And, if you watch him run, he usually puts 2 hands on the ball when he's in traffic. This time he didn't do it. So little things like that, understanding, going back to the fundamentals and technique of looking the ball in, putting 2 hands on the ball when you're in traffic. Rakeem's fumble was right at the end of the half, so that didn't hurt us. So it was a kickoff, try to make a play, but still, in traffic, put 2 hands on the ball. But yeah, we have a lot to clean up, but it's just fundamentals, technique, get back to the basics is what we're gonna do. That's gonna be the emphasis of this week. Block, tackle, catch, all those things. Just get back to the basics and clean those things up. Because right now it's not scheme wise. We're killing ourselves. So and I think the players understand that, and we'll have a good week of practice.
Follow-up question is in regards to coming out of halftime. You talked about being down 21-6 and scoring those points, 21 points straight, 2 second drive, 65-yard, 47 yards, and then the 85-yard punt return. What was done in the locker room? Was that schematics that you were able to get done, or was that just a little better execution?
A little bit of both. I had a long, stern talk with them at halftime because we were beating ourselves. It was nothing that they did to us. Offensively, especially offensively, we should have scored probably twice, maybe 3 times in that first half. But so there was nothing that they did. Our biggest issue right now is we start slow, and somehow I gotta figure out a way to get those guys to start fast. I shouldn't have to go in at halftime and give a pep talk, or maybe I need to give the pep talk. What I say at halftime at the beginning of the game, maybe I need to do that, I guess. But it was more execution. Those guys realizing that, hey, that they were beating ourselves, and that's the same theme every week. I keep telling them we can't beat ourselves, and that's what we're doing. But then, we kind of figured out what they were doing, and schematically we did a couple things, differently. But it was more execution.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Great
Doc.
game. Keep pushing forward. Look for the week off and to you follow me.
Yeah, thank you.
The next question comes to you from James Hill.
Hey, good morning, Coach. I hope you're well. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, Mr. Hill?
Pretty good. Talk a little bit about shifting gears as you go from some of the out-of-conference opportunities to shift gears into the MEAC. But you have an opportunity for a bye, and then it's all about in-conference foes. But just talk a little bit about that transition, if you will.
Our schedule kind of played out the best you would like, because we played all our out-of-conference opponents, and then you get a bye. So you get a chance to heal up, like I said, do some self-scout stuff, learn more about your offense, your defense, about your team, basically, and have 2 weeks to prepare to go into MEAC play. So I like where we're at. I do see that we're getting better. We're going in the right direction. So now let's clean things up. So, MEAC is tough. There's not going to be, any give me in teams that you can go and say, hey, oh, this is the W. No, we got great coaches in this league. Everybody, I've said it before, everybody's won championships at different level. So it's a great conference. So it's going to be tough. So I think, for schedule wise, how it played out for us is good. Now we just got to take advantage of that in this bye week and get better.
Coach, for these student athletes, they get an opportunity to focus on a few assignments in the classroom, and then also focus on Hornets football. But just talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. The offense is clicking, but talk a little bit about the defense as you get into league play.
Yeah, defensively, we got to get healthy, because we're out 4 starters in this past game. Hoping to get a couple of those back. I know one of them we probably won't get back, but we should get three of those starters back, and they're in key positions. Mario Goins, who's probably our best player at linebacker, was not playing. Daniel Douglas, our 2 starting safeties, Daniel Douglas and Jaden Etsy's, was out, and then also Ronald Holmes, who plays kind of our star nickel, he was out. So they're in key positions. So we're hoping to get those guys back, like I said, at least 3 out of 4. So I think that'll help us solidify some of the issues that we've had on defense. And those guys have been out for a couple of games now. But I just think on defense, up front, our D line has been playing really, really well. So we just got to tackle. Tackle better in space. We got guys in the hole. We're going to have to face them up and put our body on them and tackle them and make tackles. And wrap up. Really, that's the only thing that's going on the defense. So hopefully we can get that done, because Delaware State's always had a good defense, and that's what they're kind of known for. But again, if you look at it, these guys haven't played a lot before. All the guys that really are playing on the defense were backups. We lost like 5 of them from for graduation as starters, and then we lost 4 of them to the transfer portal before I got there. And so there was already a transfer portal. So you look at that, we probably, I think, only got 2 starters from last year's defense, and the rest of them guys were backups and kind of played a little bit here and there. So this is really their first time. So we knew it was going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So with them, especially with not playing a lot and then having a totally new defensive scheme.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
You too. Thank you.
The next question comes to you from Christopher Stevens.
Good morning, Coach Hall. Chris Stevens, HBCUsports.com. How's it going?
Good. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good. You mentioned getting Raheem back. He returned to kickoff for a touchdown. Wade Inge had one as well. Just talk about, when you took the job, you mentioned that you wanted to improve in all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. Just talk about having the special teams aspect of it, coming to life, and how that sparks the offense and probably gives the defense a little bit of a boost as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. Our special teams, we talk about all the time, it's complementary football. That's what we got to play: offense, defense, special teams. Everything's got to work together. So it's been great. When we've been struggling a little bit, special teams has given us a spark. This week though, defense had some long drives, and then they punt, and then we take it back, and the defense is right back on the field again. So sometimes, defense doesn't get a break when we're doing things like that. But hey, like I tell them, you can't be tired. Hey, we got a quick score. Hey, we got to get back on there and play defense. You stop them, so hey, stop them again. But just having those two guys back there is that can any time can take it to the house is great, because if you saw the sideline this week, soon as they're ready to kick off or that punt, sideline's going crazy because they're in anticipation that something could happen.
And just on the defensive side of the ball, you already mentioned the key is going to be wrapping up and tackling. 500 plus yards of rushing offense against your team. That is not something you probably want to repeat again anytime in the near future. But just talk about, what this team has to, you, as coaches, it's obviously your job to let them know, what missed assignments are, coach them up. But what do you think they have to do as teammates, amongst themselves to make sure a performance like that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, they got to hold each other accountable. I've always we talk about a lot. Coach-driven team is a good team, but a player-driven team is a great team. So once the players start holding each other accountable, that's how you win. And we're starting to get there. But we had a lot of young guys had to step up. Everybody wants their opportunity. So when injuries happen and it's your time to play, this is what you wanted. So you hopefully you've been preparing like you were a starter from the beginning. So when you had your opportunity to get in, you know exactly what's going on and you're ready for that opportunity. So a lot of the young guys got a chance. Like I said, we have 4 starters down, on defense. But I think the defense realizes, what's going on and what they need to do, and they'll get it done. I have confidence that they'll get it done, especially next game coming up. It's the first conference game. It's homecoming. There's a lot to play for. So this week it's just tackling. Just really wrapping up, and a lot of it's just they're throwing their shoulders in there, and they're not wrapping up. We played some really good running backs, and we're going to play some more really good running backs. So you have to wrap up.
And lastly, on this note, as you mentioned, you've gotten your non-conference schedule out of the way. Last 3 weeks, you played very well. Miami of Ohio, you scored 20 points. You get a win against Virginia Lynchburg, and back-to-back 40-point games. I don't think that's been done in a Hornet team in probably the last, I want to say, 25 years or so. But just how do you feel about this team heading into conference play? Like, where is your confidence level as you get into the meat and potatoes of the schedule?
I'm very confident because, again, being a new staff and putting new systems in offense, defense, and special teams, it was going to take a while. Obviously we would like to have a couple more wins under our belt, but you can see the improvement, and I like the direction that we're going in. So we like I said, we just gotta sew some things up, stop beating ourselves. If we can do that and just play, penalty free, execution free, mistake free. We can't have a lot of MAs because now, it's going into 7th week. We've been doing the same thing for 7 weeks now, 7 games. So we got to stop making those mistakes. And we can't have 20 missed tackles, and we can't have missed assignments. So that's going to be the biggest thing. I like where we're at, and I have confidence in our ball team and our players. We'll get this fixed over the bye week and have a chance to play well here down the stretch.
All right, Coach, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy the bye.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
There are no additional questions from the media. Thank you for joining us this morning, Coach Hull. Enjoy your bye week.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate that.
Thank you. The Hornets are open this week, but will take on South Carolina State in their next outing. The game kicks off Saturday, October 21st at Alumni Field in Dover, Delaware. The game will broadcast at noon on ESPN+. Our next interview comes from Norfolk State head coach Dawson Odoms. Good morning, Coach Odoms.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, last week the Spartans were open. You look a little rested there. Can you talk about how you utilized that bye week?
Rest and recovery. I think our football team needed it. tough start to the season, a physical start to the season. So had a lot of guys banged up, got a lot of guys back going into this week. So hopefully that makes us a better football team, and still waiting to get clearance on some guys today. So it's a tough stretch. It's tough when your injuries start piling up, especially during that non-conference season, because you want to be healthy going into conference play. So getting some guys back, we're really fortunate to be able to have those guys back this week, and hopefully a couple more guys come back towards the end of the week as we get ready to go into conference play.
I'm going to go ahead and move forward. This week, you return back to the field and take on Tennessee State. The Tigers are 3-2 overall and are coming off of a 27-20 win over Kennesaw State. It is homecoming also for the Tigers. What is the expectation for this matchup?
Well, they're a very good football team. You watch them on film. They do a great job offensively, defensively, special teams. They're athletic, big group of guys, very dominant. They play really well. Coach George has that football team going in the right direction. We build a tall task force on the road, playing in a good facility, great environment, be homecoming, and you go get their best. So we got to make sure our mindset is where it needs to be able to go into Nashville and hopefully come away with a win. But I like where we are. We've done some really good things. We're getting better, and I'm still waiting on that complete performance, and that's what we're searching for. And hopefully it comes this Saturday.
Well, thanks, Coach Owens. That concludes all my questions. If I can now ask you to stick around for any additional questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. The first question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach O.
Good morning, Dr. Cavill.
Fascinating with this matchup. We don't get it very often in terms of Tennessee State, Norfolk, in terms of that. But besides that, you talk a little bit about what they do, being able to run the ball offensively. Are there anything that you're starting to look as you look at the film that we need to keep our eyes in terms of watching the overall components of this game?
Well, I think they settled in at quarterback. Number 7 has played well for them against Kennesaw State. He did an outstanding job of navigating their offense up and down the field. They got the redshirt freshman running back going. Number 29 has done an outstanding job. They've been trying to get him going. So I think he had his best game to date against Kennesaw. So they're starting to get the pieces of the puzzle moving in the right direction. Got some athletic guys on the outside that are going to be a challenge for us. But offensively, they're starting to put those pieces together. Defensively, they're solid against the run, very athletic in the secondary, and do a great job. I think their top leading tackle is, I think his name is Monroe, a linebacker that's been playing really, really well. So they're a good football team. Their specialists, their place kicker has unbelievable range, and I think he's made in that game a couple 40-yarders that, he's done a really good job kicking the ball for him. So you can see they're a really good football team in all 3 phases, and they're playing football the way you're supposed to play it. They're executing at a high level and giving themselves a chance to win football games. So we're going to have to play, and we got to play really well.
I want to take you off the field a little bit and get inside the psychological component of a game. It's my understanding the band, Spartan Legion, is coming to the game behind you. You've been pretty successful over your career coming over open weeks. What kind of momentum when your fans get on the road and travel, your band, and you bring all that to support young people as they're fighting through a season? What have you seen in the past? What does that mean for a team? And does it play any psychological effect of supporting guys to kind of take the next step?
Well, I think it's always good to have support, no matter where you're playing at. I think it's important to see your colors in the stands. I think it's, especially when you're going in a hostile environment, you playing homecoming, and usually homecoming is just the team you playing against and a few of your fans. So it ought to be an exciting atmosphere. And I think, that's one of the reasons you go to a HBCU is to play in that kind of atmosphere. So we're looking forward to it. We know it's going to be a tough challenge, but we're looking forward to the opportunity to to go to Nashville and see if we can come away with a W. And knowing we got people behind us is very important to the process and how we do things, because when you look out there and you're playing and you look up in those stands and you see people pulling for you wearing the same colors you're wearing, it ought to get the juice going a little bit better. So we'll be excited for Legion to be traveling and the rest of our fans. And we ask, that they have safe travel on their way, and let's get ready to go have a great game in a good, safe environment.
Great points. Thanks for sharing that. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you.
Good luck this week.
The next question comes to you from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, good morning. I hope you and everyone on campus are well. How are you, sir?
Doing great, Mr. Hill. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Talk a little bit about great coaches in HBCU, yourself, the listing of all of the plethora of coaches over the years. And then we look at Mr. George in Nashville and his body of work, primarily more or less on the gridiron, but now he's in the coaching game. But just talk a little bit about great coaches and when you look at Eddie George, what you see there.
Well, I think you're measured by what you do on the field, but particularly at HBCUs, it's the impact that you have off the field. And to be able to pour into young men's lives and to be able to give them structure and organization to help them to become successful fathers and successful husbands is really what the calling is about at HBCUs, because we're gonna live a lot longer than we're gonna play football, and trying to get young men to understand that the life ahead of them outside of the playing field is way more important, and we want to prepare you for that game of life. And Eddie George is doing the same thing with his team, is getting them prepared for the game of life. And I think when you take a job at an HBCU, we all want to win, but we also want to win in the game of life. And a lot of us are pouring into it because people poured into us and gave us that foundation as players that play HBCU. But he's doing an outstanding job. He's got his football team believing. He's got them playing hard. And, you only hear great things coming out of their program. So it ought to be a fun environment. It ought to be a great game, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach, this is another golden opportunity. Every Saturday is, but when you look at that last opportunity before you go into league play in terms of the MEAC, just talk a little bit about going into Nashville, a great venue, a great opportunity, a great stage, as it is every week, but just talk about representing the MEAC brand and going in and playing another quality football game.
Well, I think we play quality football in the MEAC. We got great coaches, we got great players, and we fly under the radar. Do we get the respect that we think we deserve? That's up for debate. But I think as coaches in this conference, and anytime we get a chance to play against somebody that's outside of the MEAC, it gives us a chance to showcase our brand, give us a chance to showcase who we are as a program and represent Norfolk State, but also give us a chance to showcase the MEAC. So we're excited for the challenge, and we understand what's at stake, and we're ready for it. I think these guys are coming off the bye week with a clear mind and a good understanding of what it's going to take. And we're going to take this week of preparation and get ready to go try to play our best football.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you.
There are no additional questions at this time, Coach Odoms. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck to you and the team this week.
Behold, the green and gold.
Norfolk State will travel to Nashville, Tennessee, to take on Tennessee State. That game kicks off Saturday, October 14th at Hale Stadium, and will be broadcasted on ESPN Plus with a kickoff time of 6 p.m. Our next interview is with South Carolina State head coach Buddy Pugh. Good morning, Coach Pugh.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Coach. And yourself?
I'm good.
Well, Coach, last week, pretty convincing win against Virginia Lynchburg. Talk about the matchup.
Yeah, we played Virginia Lynchburg here in front of a nice crowd. It was youth day here, and we got off to a fast start, blocked the punt early in the game, and got up pretty big at halftime. Got a chance to play almost all of our team, which is always fun to see some of the guys who don't ordinarily have an opportunity to play very much get a chance to play. So we cleared our bench, and it was one of those games where it was a lot of fun just sitting there watching those guys have an opportunity to play.
Well, Coach, you had a tough start to the season, and that included a pretty competitive schedule. And then you gained that momentum. Do you believe this team is where you thought it would be right now, or do you have a different outlook of the status of where the team is right now?
We think we're beginning to come along, Patricia, but now it's kind of hard to evaluate given the last couple of circumstances. We've got Tennessee Tech coming in this weekend. We think we'll know more, after this game, but at the same time, we do feel like we're starting to come along. We've got a lot of young folk playing. We playing 5 either freshmen or redshirt freshman running backs and a couple of redshirt wide receivers. We playing some secondary guys that are young. It's a pretty young football team, and they seem to be coming along nicely. But at the same time, I'll hold my evaluation in reserve until I get a little more information.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that matchup so we can be able to talk a little bit more next week. But this week you host OVC opponent Tennessee Tech. The Golden Eagles are coming into the matchup 1-4 and have struggled offensively this season, only recording 32 points in all of their games collective. They're coming in with the 23-0 shutout last week against Lindenwood. How are you assessing this matchup?
Well, a little bit with a little bit of intrepidation. I'm really I guess maybe a little bit confused by what you see on film and what their record is. These guys really do a nice job on defense of getting after you, and they had like 5 sacks against Lindenwood. They've got a couple guys that are really, really active defensive front kind of guys that you got to have an idea where they're at, because these guys are running, make plays all over the place. So it'll be interesting to see, exactly how we do match up against them. Offensively, they've kind of moved around personnel a good bit. Their quarterback has been a little bit of an issue for them, and they hadn't played the same guy a whole lot. So they keep moving around from person to person that way, personnel wise. And that's always an issue. That's the most important position maybe in football and maybe in sports period. And, we get a situation where, we got a similar kind of deal going ourselves with Corey and some of our guys. Hopefully we're getting settled in on Corey Fields now in a way where, we can kind of depend on him to be our leader and know exactly what we're going to get when we leave the locker room on Saturday. So, they've got some of the kinds of issues that we've got, some of the similar kinds of issues. They are 1-4, we're 2-3. We need to get out and see if we can beat these guys to get to 3-3. We want to try to figure out how to get to even by the time we get into our conference another week from now.
As always, thank you for joining us this morning, Coach Pugh. That concludes all of my questions. We will now take questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raised hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced.
Thanks so much.
The first question, thank you. The first question comes to you from James Hill. Go ahead, Mr. Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody on campus in Orangeburg are well. How are you, sir?
We're good, James. How are you this morning?
I'm blessed. Talk a little bit about the last call, if you will. You look at Tennessee Tech, and this could be, I say could be, one of your last opportunities to coach against a non-MEAC foe. But just talk a little bit about what you envision going in.
Well, y'all start trying to throw these nostalgia kind of situations at me, and I don't necessarily know if I want to get involved that way. I want to try to see if we can ease on out of here in a way where it's just kind of business as usual. But this is our last non-conference game, isn't it? I hadn't even thought about that till you said that, James. And I guess it'll be important that we go out and play really well against these guys, because this will be our last chance to represent our league. From a in-league, out-of-league kind of standpoint. So it'll be interesting. I tell you what, these guys can beat us, and we need to really be careful in the way where we have a really good plan together. I've challenged our staff and our guys yesterday. We met yesterday as a team and talked a little bit about them and showed some tape and did some things, to try to see if we could start the preparation process for these guys. But I can tell you that we've got our work cut out for us, and we need to really have a nice plan, because if not, then this might not be pretty.
Coach Corey Fields, Mr. Godbolt, defensively, Jablonski, and all the entire crew. Everybody's coming together, galvanizing. Just talk a little bit about your football team, the Bulldogs, and as you move forward, what you would like to see.
Well, Corey is starting to come on as in the quarterback position. We think we've settled in on him in a way where, he'll take the majority of the snaps, but we will occasionally play Andre Washington. The one thing that we've decided to do is try to settle on one guy, though. I've always heard the statement, if you got two quarterbacks, you probably don't have one. So, the reason why you got two is because you can't settle on one. Well, we think Corey's our guy, and he's a tremendous leader. He doesn't say much, but he leads by example. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. He's finished. He's got his master's. He's got his teaching certification. He'll go out. And the biggest problem I have with him is people were trying to recruit him is high school press trying to take him from me to make him their football coach, and make him their AD or something of that nature, because he's that kind of guy. And when he speaks, the reason he doesn't speak much is because he listens, and that's a special kind of quality about him. And then and as a team, he's mixed it up good. We've got a young bunch of running backs back there. We don't know where the heck they're going half the time, but if you get it to them and go in the right direction, then they can really go someplace. It's just that we don't necessarily know where. But it's fun watching them because we've got some real talent back there. And so we're playing about 4 or 5 of those guys. And Corey's really doing a nice job of kind of keeping them settled. And hopefully the offensive line will continue to improve and play well. We think those guys are starting to kind of come into their own. And last but not least, our receivers are decent. And we got a tight end. So offensively, we feel pretty good about where we're starting to go. Then on the defensive side of the ball, the last couple of games we played well. We gave up 10 points to the Citadel. Right at the end of the game, we gave up a score. We gave up 6 points to Virginia Lynchburg. Guy hits a dadgum 50-some odd yard field goal. I'm sitting there saying, is he gonna try this thing? Because we thinking they're gonna fake it. This guy actually hits the dadgum thing. So it was a little bit of a down on the fact that we were trying to shut those guys out, and they kept hitting field goals on us. They got a couple scores, but our defense as a whole is starting to play better. We still not quite there. We're not the defense. We're not the South Carolina State defense of a whole, but we got some South Carolina defensive style kind of personnel. We got a new defensive coordinator. Thomas Howard is really a good young football coach, and he's putting this crew together in a way where we starting to feel like we can stop the run, which is what the first order of business you want to have on that side of the ball. So as far as the overall process of our offense versus defense is concerned, I think we both maybe a little bit better than ours, but not quite up to speed yet. And then we kick the ball fairly decent. Both our kickers and punter, the teams that are wrapped around them are pretty decent. So we come along. We're not quite there. We're not Central, I guarantee you. I watched them guys, on film a little bit. Let me tell you what, boy. Between them and Howard, I don't know. We picked to be third. I don't know if we third. Right now, it's a rat race between it. We got 6 teams. It might be as much parity as we've had in our league in the history and all the years I've been here. But I tell you what, Central might be the best team we've had in all those years.
Thank you so much, Coach. Have a blessed week.
All right, James.
The next question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Yes, it's Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, you broke down things so well there. I was trying to figure out what angle I was going to go. How you doing this morning?
Good, Doc. How you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. When you talk about the youth of your team and building that confidence, and you kind of did that starting with Citadel, and one of the things you're able to do is jump on them pretty early to get some things done, both offensive, defensive, to make plays, special teams got involved. When I look at Tennessee Tech, similar in a lot of ways, offensively, they've struggled. You mentioned that, but a lot of it has been in terms of turnovers. Are there some things you can do defensively to try to force some of those turnovers that you might be able to see on tape?
You know what? I hope so. That you're right though, Doc. They're about I think -10, -11 turnover margin wise, and I'm sure that's got a lot to do with with some of their offensive inefficiency. But I'm gonna tell you, they got two running backs that really scare the heck out of them. Number 0 and number 22, both those guys, Pegues and something, I forgot that name, but them guys can run like their hair's on fire, and in a situation where if you got skill, then you always got a chance to make big plays that way. So
Right.
if they ever settle in and really get an understanding on who can do what and all that kind of stuff, then they might turn out to be a really good football team. And I'm just hoping they don't show up down here on Saturday. Or at least if they do show up, we play our best game to kind of counteract it, because if not, then we got our issues. Yes.
Talking about playing game, going back, when you play a team like you did Virginia Lynchburg, no disrespect to them in terms of the number of scholarships and things that you're able to do, you working at in terms of the game there, really getting down to the schematics, so when you play a team at the FCS level that you're able to kind of maturate, as you said, grow your freshman young team, and then have your seniors lead the way. What are you working on in a game like that, other than obviously execution and just being able to put numbers up and beat the team?
But the obvious, we're not that deep of thinkers to get that far deeper into, what might be. I can tell you that we want to get a fast start, put them away as quickly as possible, get as many people out of the game as you could, because of the fact that you didn't necessarily expose them to, to anything that might possibly, because lots of times it gets chippy in a game where you're blowing a team out. Last thing you're looking for is one of your guys out there being silly, and the next thing you know, you're losing for another game or something of that sort. So you're trying to get that done, and then next it's not very often in the game in a season where you get an opportunity to give some of the guys an opportunity to play that you don't necessarily have an opportunity in regular circumstances. So, I'm always excited to see guys play that hadn't played. And, sometimes you find a guy too in a situation like that. You might get a guy, who might be, back in the doldrum somewhere, and he gets out there and he does something. He says, you know what, I need to try this guy again somewhere. So you might have a shot to find a guy that you not necessarily don't realize is capable. And at that point, then you really benefited.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Doc.
Look forward to the matchup.
Appreciate it. See you. Yep.
There are no additional questions this morning. Thank you for joining us, Coach Pugh. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you, Patricia. You have a good day.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bye-bye.
South Carolina State will host Tennessee Tech on Saturday, October 14th. That game will be played at the Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina. The game will broadcast on ESPN Plus and is scheduled to kick off at 1:30 p.m. Our next interview is with Morgan State head coach Damon Wilson. Good morning, Coach Wilson.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Coach. How are you doing this morning?
We're navigating through this situation, but all in all, we're doing well.
Right, Coach. Well, speaking of, last week, the focus was on more than just football. What have you said to your players and staff to guide them through the unfortunate incidents that occurred last week?
Well, we talked a little bit about the senseless act that happened here on campus. Talked about the importance of surrounding each other and supporting each other at this time. The university has done a great job with resources and that sort of thing for our students. This was a very tough time. Our guys, of course, wanted to play the game, and but we had a conversation and got them to understand the importance of the bigger picture and to make sure those individuals impacted were healthy, and we had the overall safety in our minds with regards to how we proceeded.
Well, this week the Bears are open. What will be the focus of the bye week?
Just to focus on us. You know, we're practicing. We'll be on the field tomorrow morning, practicing and trying to get better. You know, we were looking forward to the Stony Brook game. It was homecoming, and it was an opportunity for us to play another non-conference game before we got ready for conference play. So we got to be really creative this week and have some competition periods, but at the same time try to get healthy or stay, healthy as possible, but prepare for a very good North Carolina Central football team.
Well, Coach Wilson, that concludes all of my questions at this time. If I can ask you to stay on the line for any additional questions from the media. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're called upon. The first question comes to you from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Go ahead, Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Coach Wilson.
What Doug, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. is inside the HBC Sports Lab. My first question, like open statement, just wanted to say prayers go out to you, your team, and the Morgan State family.
Thank you.
With that being said, I would like to ask you, how is your team emotionally going through all this? Obviously, young folks seem to be resilient. You mentioned that they wanted to play, but you had to talk to them about the bigger picture, which means they probably have a chance to kind of let it settle in. Can you give a framework of maybe how they're doing?
All in all, I think all in all, I think they're doing okay. Some of them took the time to go back home. You know, we shut down everything on after I think it was Thursday or Friday. We shut down everything, gave those guys an opportunity to go home if they wanted to. We're back on campus now, and of course, we'll be back with them tomorrow morning. The coaches, we did some welfare checks, if you will, for the guys that stayed around this weekend in their dorms and that sort of thing. And all in all, the spirits are high. First, because a little roller coaster ride for them, you know, excited about homecoming, then canceling everything. That definitely impacted them. But like I said, all in all, I think we're getting back together. And I think tomorrow practice will tell me a lot more where we are with regard to their mental state right now.
My little question is about looking forward and moving forward, but it's uniquely different. Obviously, you have a off week, so now you get the extended period of time. You know, what is the benefits and what are the challenges about navigating this space? And have you had anything that you could pull from in your previous experience about how you might be able to navigate this space and it being very different than traditionally wanting to play kind of week after week?
Well, no, actually, I haven't never had basically two off weeks, and that's really where we are now. We had a unexpected off week and go right into a bye week, so that's definitely different for me. I think it gives us an opportunity to focus on us and try to correct some of the things that we've been doing wrong. I think we've been in a number of the football games, but hadn't finished them. But we didn't play very well second half against the Yale team, so that was our last time on the field. And the reward we get is to play a very good North Carolina Central team when we hit back on the field. So it's important for us to try to simulate as many game-like situations this week so we can continue to stay in a game mode to get ready for Central for next week.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing that and giving that perspective. Again, prayers out to all involved. I know you had to deal with it also in terms of Bowie, your alma mater. So deepest in terms of really finding a way to navigate the space. Anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Indeed. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill. The next question comes to you from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. My prayers and my thoughts are with the Morgan State University Bears Nation. First and foremost, how are you today and how's it going?
First of all, thank you. Doing well. Like I said, we're back in the office. We're great to staff meet here in a few moments to get ready for this practice week and making sure that we continue to wrap our arms around our student athletes within the program and do anything that we can do in the community to stop this senseless act of violence.
Coach, talk a little bit about thriving through adversity, keeping the main thing, and letting young guys know that safety is key. But there's two things we want to do, get an education and win football games and build young men. But just talk a little bit about keeping guys on track, so to speak.
It's very important, definitely right now. You know, we talk about adversity, whether it's in the course of the football game and or in life, and it's how you respond to the adverse situations. And that's something that we're talking about. You know, in order to be a successful dad or a successful husband, or you're going to go through some adverse times in your life, in your lifetime, and you want to make sure you handle those things the right way. So we're not shying away from the conversation. We're allowing our guys to communicate to us and tell us how they feel, and at the same time, we're making sure that we provide them with the necessary resources and opportunities to get through this trying time.
Coach, national championships, you know what that looks like as seen at Bowie State University, and you're building towards that at Morgan. And you'll face a gentleman in Coach Oliver with the Eagles, but just talk a little bit about the great minds, the great coaches, and what that can look like as Morgan and Central play MEAC play.
It's a lot of great coaches in this league. And Coach Hall mentioned it earlier, everyone has won championships at one level or another here. So, that's one thing that you can't take away is the quality of coaching in this conference. And right now, Coach Oliver has his team playing at a very high level in all three phases. And they're a team that beat up on us pretty good last year. Now they have opportunity to come here. We must tighten up the ship, if you will, in order to come out that game successful. So once again, he's a guy I respect tremendously. He's been around a number of programs, and he's done a good job building that Central program.
Thank you, Coach. My heart goes out to the Morgan State University family, and we wish you and the fellas and everybody in Baltimore well going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. The next question comes to you from Ty Miller. Go ahead, Ty.
Hey, thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Coach, for being here, and good morning to you. How you doing?
Doing well, Ty.
Coach, with the events that took place with Standing, are there any plans with your last two home games against either Morgan or Delaware State later on in the season to do sort of a simulated homecoming of any sort for the team?
The administration is talking about that now. We will do something special for our last two home games, just to show the unity and that sort of thing here at Morgan State. So they're working through logistics now. It won't be a homecoming game, but it will be something to hopefully we get our alums back on campus and experience some of the things that's going on this campus. There's a lot of building going on, a lot of positive things that are here that alums want to see. So we're working to put some things together to give them opportunity to do just that.
Mayor Brandon Scott spoke about the shooting when it happened. Has he had any contact with you or your team about, the need to either have more focus on getting guns and things like that off the streets?
Not directly. He has not.
And Coach, you spoke about the last time you played Central and they beat you pretty good, 59-20. How much, although unwarranted or unexpected, how much does this time off give you to prepare for that team?
Like I said, it was a roller coaster ride, but we overcame the cancellation, and we had to switch our focus right back to Central and find a positive in this, if you will. So yes, it gave us as a staff a few more days to prepare. And that's something we took advantage of. We did some self-scouting to find out some things that we were doing well, weren't doing well, and then trying to correct those things this week. And then we'll get into our regular game week preparation on Sunday for Central. But this week, we want to really focus on Morgan State and correcting some of the things that we haven't been doing well thus far.
And lastly, Coach, you just mentioned, my next question, in a way that you have been kind of up and down this season. And it's been said by a lot of coaches that most teams make their most improvement between the first 2 weeks of the season. But lately, a lot of coaches have been saying that you make steady improvement throughout the season. So where's your team in regards to that?
Right now, we're taking turns messing up. So and I think defensively, we were hitting on all cylinders at the beginning of the year. Offensively, we've really still never found our stride, if you will. So we want to make sure we tighten the ship back up defensively, improve our special teams, and hopefully get on some type of run offensively as far as scoring points. And I think that'll help the overall, for the overall good of the team.
Okay, Coach, thank you a whole lot and good luck going forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next question comes to you from Christopher Stevens. Go ahead, Mr. Stevens.
Good morning, Coach Wilson. Chris Stevens from HBCUsports.com. Want to echo the sentiments of Dr. Cavill, Mr. Hill, and everyone else, and you guys well wishes and prayers.
Thank you.
you have to be, obviously you came from Bowie State, and for Bowie State to open their doors, and you mentioned unity in the previous question, for Bowie State to open their arms and their doors to your kids, be able to, experience homecoming in spite of this tragedy, just what does that say about, the unity of Black colleges in general, and, how that made your kids feel?
I think that's great. I mean, I think, both universities have great presidents, Dr. Wilson here at Morgan State and Dr. Bro at Bowie State. And I think the administration did the right thing with regards to opening the doors, giving our students here at Morgan an opportunity to experience homecoming right down the road. So I think, great universities led by great people. And I think it was a great gesture. Something I was really excited to see because I had an opportunity to attend Bowie State's homecoming, and I saw a lot of Morgan alums and current students present at the game. So that was good to see.
And just from a football standpoint, you've mentioned that your team has been up and down all year long. You have an unexpected bye week this previous week. You have one coming up this week, and then of course you have Central on Thursday night on national television. Just where's your confidence level about this team heading into the meat and potatoes of the MEAC schedule?
My confidence is very high. I mean, we have some guys here that can play football, and we're still not anywhere near where we need to be with regards as a staff coming into Morgan State. But at the same time, we have some pieces here, and I want to see these guys be successful. I want these guys to get rewarded for their hard work they've been putting in, throughout the summer and early part of the season. And now we're in a place we're in the MEAC schedule now. We're ready to roll. Everything that we said we wanted to do is still before us, but we got to play good football. And we're opening up once again with a very tough opponent. But, I'm excited about it, excited about the opportunity, excited about catching North Carolina Central here at home.
All right, Coach, thanks very much for your time. Best of luck going forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning, Coach Wilson. Best of luck to you, to the team. The MEAC family continues to keep you in our hearts and our prayers as you go through these difficult challenges with regards to your institution. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Bears are open this week, but we'll take on Morgan State in their next matchup. We'll take on North Carolina Central in their next matchup. That game kicks off Thursday, October 19th at Hughes Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. The game will broadcast live on ESPNU and is scheduled to kick off at 7:30 p.m. This concludes this week's MEAC Weekly Football Coaches video conference. Before we end the video conference, the MEAC would like to thank everyone that assisted and participated this morning. The MEAC would also like to thank its corporate partners for their continued support of the conference and its Elite 8 member institutions. As a reminder, the next video conference is scheduled for Monday, October 16th at 10 a.m. For more information on MEAC football or other sponsored sports, visit MEACsports.com and follow the MEAC on social media at MEAC Sports on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Thank you for joining us for this week's MEAC Weekly Football Coaches Conference, and have a great football week.